Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of a musical journey throughout Lent. Just a series of each week, I tell you a little bit of background information of a hymn or a song and sing it for you. So this week, we're going to talk about Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Sound. When I picked this song, I didn't realize that the history of it is pretty extensive and pretty complex. And I highly recommend looking into it a little bit further beyond what you hear today, because I don't really have time to go into all the details of it, and it is very interesting. So if you're kind of interested in what you hear, then yeah, I definitely recommend looking into the song a little bit further. So it was written by John Newton, who was born in 1725 and died in 1807. The music was written by William Walker, who was born in 1809 and 1875. And when I say that, I mean the music that we sing today, the tune that's most associated with Amazing Grace today. Throughout the years, it was set to some different tunes, and that's pretty common with songs that were written quite a while ago. But yeah, the tune that we know today, it was written by William Walker. So Amazing Grace was first published in 1779. And the words were written in either 1772 or 1773, depending on what source you look at. I saw some conflicting information on that, but early 1770s. So John Newton wrote the first 4 verses that we see in the Evangelical Lutheran Worship Hymnal, the hymnal that we use here at Light of Christ. The 5th verse that's in that hymnal is written by an anonymous writer. So the verses are as follows. I'm going to just insert the verses here instead of speaking through them for time's sake. So here are the verses. I think in order to understand the history and the meaning of the song, we have to talk about the history of the text writer himself, John Newton. That's kind of really important in understanding the background of this song. So John Newton, he led a pretty interesting life. He went through a big conversion to Christianity throughout his life. So in his younger years, though, he was known for being disobedient and living a libertine lifestyle. He liked to drink, he liked to gamble, he just liked to be kind of a menace. And because of that, he was pushed into joining the Royal Navy. When he was in the Royal Navy, he continued to struggle with that kind of behavior, and because of that, he was punished a lot. He liked to make fun of the captains. He was very loud. He was very rude. So he didn't obey, which is obviously a problem. He was often punished harshly, and that's a whole section of his life that I can go into that I don't really have a lot of time to. So again, that's one of those things where if you want to learn more, I would definitely look into it. But after leaving the service, Newton became involved in the Atlantic slave trade, so he became a slave trader. In 1748, during a return voyage to England, his ship was caught in a storm off the coast of Ireland. Newton began praying for God's mercy, and then shortly after, the storm began to die down, and his crew arrived safely to port 4 weeks later. This is kind of what was considered the beginning of his conversion to Christianity. Up until this point, he wasn't living a Christian lifestyle and would always mock Christianity. However, despite this, he did continue in the slave trade business until he was forced to retire in 1752 due to a medical issue. So it wasn't a moral thing. He wasn't like, oh, slave free is bad, so I'm going to stop. It was, I can't do it anymore, so I need to stop. He did become an abolitionist eventually, but that didn't happen until the late 1780s. In 1764, he became a minister after studying theology. So like I said before, Newton wrote the text that we now know as Amazing Grace, and it was originally written to accompany a sermon that he did. And it was published in Only Hymns in 3 Books, a compilation of hymns he wrote with poet William Cowper. So eventually, Amazing Grace did gain popularity in the US and was published in New York City in 1790. A version with music first appeared in 1835, and then, like I said before, kind of go through, it went through different tunes, but American composer William Walker set it to the tune known as Great Britain in the Southern Harmony Hymn Book, and that's the tune most frequently sung today. So Newton was not outwardly an abolitionist until the late 1780s, and because of that, the text is not thought to be directly linked to abolitionist views. Even though it might sound like it, people do not think that this song is about actually freeing people, literally freeing people. But, however, the first 3 stanzas were used in Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin. It also became a ballad for the civil rights movement in the 60s. So it's very interesting how, even though it was written by somebody who was in the slave trade business, it was still a very important song to the African American community throughout their struggles through slavery and the civil rights era. It was very important and prevalent. It was also used for even more political reasons in the Vietnam War era by war protesters. They would sometimes sing this while they marched. And it's a hymn that's even relevant to the 21st century. For example, President Obama sang Amazing Grace at a 2015 memorial service for Clementa Pinckney, one of 9 victims of the Charleston shooting. And then we see it oftentimes in movies and shows. Sometimes secular singers sing it, Christian singers sing it. It's, like I said, it's extremely popular and very well known. And I think the fact that the song has remained relevant for over 2 centuries and is it used in popular culture, political settings, and church settings just shows how relatable and accessible the lyrics are. So it's very easy for people who don't know a lot about Christianity to understand. So we all feel lost at times and all want to be shown the way. It's a message of hope and mercy. It's a message of freedom. Whether that's freedom from your sins, freedom from literal chains. And I think that message of hope and just finding the light through trials and tribulations is something that humankind wants to hear and needs to hear, because obviously things are not always easy here on earth. And songs like this really remind us that there's hope and things will get better. So yeah, Amazing Grace is a very important song, and those are just some of the reasons why. That's a really brief history. I know it's a little bit of a longer video, so it doesn't seem brief, but look into it a little bit more if you are interested in learning more.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers sound that saved